right, all right. What's going on a Tuesday? You are in tune with the Truth Seekers. This is IntellectualRadio.com, 7 p.m. in Chicago, with your host, Tone Duncan. It is a privilege and a pleasure to be able to hang out with you on the way home. For some of you at home and are just nestling down, getting ready for a great show, I want to again thank you deeply for taking a few minutes out of your busy evening and digging into some truths. Every Tuesday, it is my pleasure to bring to you some of the thoughts that I've had over the weekend, some of the discussions that we've had on social media, and just kind of dive into what's really going on. As we all know, truths are empirical. What that means is ultimately a truth has to be something that resonates with you. But facts are all that we can ever collaborate on. Your truth is your truth. My truth is my truth. Together we seek truths, separating the facts and seeing what's really real. So again, thank you so very much. I was looking over some news, getting ready for my show, and of course, one of the very first things that I see and blew me completely away was coming up with a message to those who use social media. Message to social media is, yes, we know social media can cause depression. Now, let me tell you a little something about this depression, because nowadays everything is depressing. But this specifically is real. See, what we need to understand is that when you judge yourself based on the accomplishments believed to be happening because of what you scroll and observe on your timeline, yeah, that can cause people who have already felt overwhelmed of life to become slightly more stressed. What we found out from Facebook is Facebook said when you just stroll about, interact, just observe, you become overloaded and you start to think that what you see is real because you haven't interacted with it. You haven't tested the authenticity of it. You don't know the people specifically, personally enough to validate whether or not all of these streaming success are really true. We start to judge ourselves. We start to beat ourselves down. And we start to get depressed. Now, this isn't just an observation. These are based on clinical studies on the effects of social media on teens. Know that what has adversely affected teens is very much so affecting so many of us. I talked to my kids about it. I asked one of my children, my 12-year-old, I said, how does it feel when you stroll down your feed and you see all these kids showing off things that you wish you had? How does it feel to see people doing the things that you wish you were doing, seeing people in vacation countries, smiling, lapping it up with their friends, family? Does it make you feel like we're not living life enough? You know, maybe I'm thankful for having such great parents, but I think I instilled to him earlier that people usually only market the images they want people to think of them. So too many times we'll see what people want us to believe, but we will not receive the truth. We will not look deeper than just the surface and guys past our insecurities to see that just like you, everyone is putting on a facade to make life better than it truly is. E, what's going on? Mike, what's up? Want to say special shout outs to all of you who are trying your best to pursue your dreams today. You know, so many times that life is about the sadness, the obstacles, the limitations, the excuses. And some of us say, you know, those will always be here, but my opportunity, my chance may not be forever. So I got to see past these things, and I've got to move forward into what life is really about. See, we need to start doing some things that are going to change our lives for the better. It's coming whether you're ready or not. Tammy, what's up? See, what we need to understand is that ultimately the life that you want to live is yours to live if you can forgive your past and not limit your future. Actually, take is becoming more present in the present sense and stop allowing an anxiety of hopes to derail you right now, today. I got some things that I want to talk to you about, but I know some of these things may not be where you are right now, and I'm not selling you anything. See, I don't want you to walk away believing anything I say for me. I want you to think about it. I want you to study it as a truth seeker will and see if it resonates well with you. Because I've got a few techniques that I've used to move myself away from doubt and into successful ventures. And I want to share them with you. I had a few people talk to me about it. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll talk to you a little bit more about living your life. Matter of fact, what I want to talk to you today about is loving yourself like it's a religion. See, so many times we're looking for the perfect belief system because we've forgotten how to believe in ourselves. See, some of us have spent so much time outside of ourselves looking for answers that we forgot lies in spending more time with yourself and on yourself. For some people, because some people spend the majority of their time trying to get away from themselves. Matter of fact, they'll jump out of a relationship that was toxic, jump right back in another one because they cannot stand to spend an extra moment alone and have to deal with the problems that are themselves. Hey, this is your boy Tone Duncan. We're going to talk about some stuff that's a little real here. Hey, don't forget, like, comment, share. Make sure that you are an active participant in this conversation because, like all conversations, to convo. This is IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Tone Duncan. Every Tuesday, the Truth Seekrz comes out in big form to represent. And we are so very specially appreciative of all of you who come and join us on social media. If you're on IntellectualRadio.com, if you're checking us out on YouTube at the IntellectualRadio.com, if you're checking us out on Facebook, on one of the many Facebook sites that we're on, if you're on social media checking us out on Instagram, thank you. Thank you so very much. But be a part of it. Jump in. Let's talk a little. See, some of us are okay to go to work and do what somebody else will tell you to do, but we won't work on ourselves. See, a lot of us are sick of being told what to do, but when it comes to doing what you've told yourself you want to do, you're still waiting on somebody to tell you to do it. Well, you are the you that's got to kick your butt into gear. And if you can't understand that, nobody on the outside is going to create that connection for you. See, so many of us taught to do as we are told, but rarely tell ourselves to do what we want to do. You got to stand up to yourself because too many times we are intimidated by our own negative thoughts. Sometimes you got to stand up to the negative thinking. Sometimes you got to stand up to the doubter inside of you. Out, man. I've already failed in life enough times to know that if I don't believe in me, I can't achieve what I'm looking for. A lot of people don't want to deal with themselves. Like my girl T says, see, there's a lot of pain underneath that outfit. There's a lot of pain underneath that facade. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of people who have seen you at your best and brought you to your worst. A lot of people have caught you at a vulnerable moment where all you needed was just one more person to voice a belief. But they discredited you, said something to doubt you in your heart, and replayed in your mind. You know what they say? They say the heart plays what the mind can't erase. See, some of us are living in the pains, the sickness, and the guilt that isn't yours. Matter of fact, a lot of us are dealing with the guilt of our upbringing, because when you are raised in a toxic environment, I'm going to say this slowly. When you are raised in a toxic environment where people stumble over their own doubt and lack of self-esteem, you get trained up into believing this kind of rhetoric. You start to take on some of these comments. You start to find your life those thoughts of failure. Don't stand up to this negative belief system. You will never achieve what others don't believe. See, I had a friend, and he had a deep belief that one day he could come out of the projects and go into one of the best universities possible. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Through life, as circumstances will have it, he fell a little short of his goal. Not believing in himself. I said he fell short of the goal, but he didn't fail because he still believed. The reason he was able to see not only himself into a proper education at a fine educational institution, but he got his son into Yale. See, because when you believe in yourself, it's addictive. The people around you start to accidentally believe in themselves too. See, because the power of persuasion is in the way you think. If the way you think is negative. See, if you have self-doubt, you start to rub off on people. And this is why you have to kind of have a prep rally with yourself every day. Every day. Tell yourself on the belief that you are greater. You are more capable than your last success, but you have to believe it to achieve it. And a lot of that is mental judo. So many of us want to believe. We can quote it to a friend. We can say it when we're feeling good. But when we deeply dig, we find out the currents that really churn the water positive at all. They're not positive. See, we are our beliefs. We are our beliefs. One of the oldest traditions are that whatever you believe becomes your world. Whatever you think, the universe. I had a friend. Me and him went and we filled out applications. We were 17 years old. My friend, he went and filled out 20 applications. I liked him. He was a hustler. I filled out 20 applications too. We had a couple dollars. We sat down at McDonald's. You know, I was young and didn't know about killing myself then. But we sat down and I asked him, I said, well, what did you apply for? You know, he said, I applied for the custodian position because I feel like I can be depended on and nobody can ever question how well I could sweep. how well I could mop, how well I could clean. He said to me, he said, what did you apply for? I said, well, I feel like if you fill out 20 applications, they should all be kind of aspirational, if you will, not too crazy, but at least big enough to make you smile when you get the job. See, I went for assistant manager, and I put that down on every application. Do you know that of the 20 some odd applications that I filled out and the 20 applications that he filled out, at least 10 of those applications called us. But they had already started to believe we were the person ourselves to be on the application. The question is, on your mental application, what are you writing down for your job of choice? What are you fighting after? Where are you going with this thing called life? Opportunity asking you to go. See, you got to sell yourself on the truth of a life of lies, and you would have created those lies to become your truth. See, when you believe in you, when you deeply believe in you, you focus. You focus on the inner person. You find that person, not the one in the mirror, but the one looking at the one in the mirror, seeing all of it. See, that's the real, that's the deeper you. See, that you knows the truth. He hears you talk. He hears you sound good. He knows your effort is okay. But he or she has been with you all the time. See, the inner you knows your fears and watches you step into your belief system. See, Oprah Winfrey said, and I love this quote, Oprah Winfrey said, living in the moment means letting go of the past and not waiting for the future. She said it means living your life consciously, aware that each moment you breathe. See, if you are not walking through life with that mindset, then you ask yourself, what separates me from the successful? See, it takes courage sometimes, all right? To fight these demons, it takes more than many of us. See, but on the other side of that effort, on the other side of that fight, is the job you always wanted. It's the business you always felt you should have opened. You know you could get, but you stepped out and you got that home. You got that storefront. See, it's that degree for you kept believing in. See, it's that moment when everybody else had quit that you believed in you. That will never happen if you quit. You've got to step out. You've got to step out in faith. You got to believe in your destiny as if it was your past. See, this is who we are intended to be. Tina Turner once said, bringing you down, get rid of it, because you'll find that when you are free, self comes out. See, a lot of us have been shackled down not only by internal doubt, but so much external doubt. So many people trying to sabotage our dreams. But it takes courage, y'all. Some have to be able to accept rejection. Have that strength. Well, let me tell you something. It is a guarantee for every person who's ever been received, embraced. That same person has been rejected more times. But it's how you see things that determines how you perceive rejection creates use for your next attempt. See, here's something you have to know. It's called the law of chance. See, if you keep hearing no's to your goals, that just means one day, guaranteed to hear a yes. We don't hear the yes because we don't have the confidence. See, don't take rejection well because so many of us have been living a rejected life. So many of us have been living a dejected. Too many of us have been feeling like every single ambition has been thwarted. Every time I try, but you don't understand failure is not forever. Only lasts a moment. We are constantly reselling, reshaping, and redetermining who we want to be. You got to ask yourself, hung up on a failure that no longer means anything to anybody. Today's success is based on a winning mindset, but we got to have it. And you got to step out on faith to get it. I'm going to tell you so you understand. In life, I have had failures. Failures have a way of making you think you've overstepped. Failures have a way of making you think you might just have too high of an expectation on yourself. Because when you're not used to failing big, feel like the end of the road. But when you've been around enough people who are where you want to be, big failures are a part of big success. When you're fearing, you gotta want it. Hey, this your boy Tone Duncan. Listen, I'm talking about success. I'm talking about something a lot of you don't know how to do. Even though we are leaders in our circles, leaders to ourselves. See, what we need to understand, and I'm going to say this real slow, is the greatest hater one who wears your smile. See, Malcolm X said something a long time ago. Malcolm said that the greatest injury to a human being is that which was self-inflicted. So many times we have beaten ourselves when we need to hug ourselves, love ourselves, and step out. See, if it's a calling in your life, it'll come back around. If it's a lesson for you to be learned, itself in a different way. Give up on this, an opportunity pops up on something else, not the same opportunity, but life has a way of giving you one more chance. You got to give yourself one more chance too. Teresa, you know how it goes. We got to be there for each other. Thank you for listening. Tammy, if we don't appreciate success, it's because we've been too imprisoned here. So many of us have aspirations of success with a little s. See, we don't miss our big targets. We have a problem being far too accurate on the little ones. See, we don't miss big. We hit small. And if that's you, you know who I'm talking to. For me, that's been me. For many times, I found success to the outside world and been inside disappointed. Not because I can't appreciate the things I do, it's because I know in me. One time, I'm at the gym and I'm lifting weights and I'm feeling good, y'all. Y'all know what it's like when you go to the gym and those days you're feeling good. I hit my weight and everybody said, yeah, Tone, you hit your weight. But see, a part of me, somebody hear me right now, a part of me felt stronger before. I could have stayed where I was on that lift because everybody else was celebrating my success. But when you know you, when you talk to the inside person, then it's subtle. It's not judgmental, but it's encouraging. It says, you know, you had more in you, right? It did just a little more, but how will you know your limits if you will not step past your failures? Wait, y'all, and I got a brand new. A lot of us have a personal best waiting, stepped out with the belief that it takes to achieve it. Let me tell you something. Harriet Tubman said, every great dream begins with the dreamer. Remember, you have within your strength the patience and the passion to reach the stars and change the world. Some of y'all want it. Some of y'all want it. And others want it. And there's no judgment here. See, because wherever you are, it's the right place to be going forward from. We just got to step in faith to do. See, you have to be truthful with yourself. Because like I said, see, in your mind, in your conscious, you are talking to the true self. Knows tricks. See, you have to be truthful with yourself. Truthful. Some of us, we have a hard time because we have been so used to living a lie. We live lies with the person on the inside. But it's what we do right now. See, Martin Luther King, he already had a profession. He was already doing well. He had already graduated from a prestigious theological school. He had all the power to just stay where he was and do well. The truth, he wasn't to lose what he had. Mainstream America, the same America that has mercilessly oppressed, killed, and disenfranchised his people. But what did he do? He found of a higher calling, of a deeper truth. And some of you today are sitting on that deeper truth. Sitting on a gold mine and you're talking to a friend about Bitcoin. You think the only way for you to ever be anything in life is if somebody else puts you up on it and you go do what they say. Be the next fool in every single scam because this is who you feel comfortable with. It's the identity you've chose for the life you have to live. Self-short. Understand that the real mining needs to happen on the inside. Because if you think Bitcoin can go from $0 to $20,000, what can a man do who believeth in himself? Faith. I'm going to tell you right now, Bitcoin is volatile, but faith and belief has got perseverance. Got us through slavery. Got us through a boat ride that was determined to kill the weak. Got us through Jim Crow. Got us here today. Faith, persistence, determination, things that nobody else ever believed we could ever have coming out of what we've done, yet we are here today. But many of us forgot. And we've held on to a different message. We've held on to a message of failure. We've looked up and seen mass incarceration and said, well, now my goal fail. See, we need to demand of ourselves our expertise. We need to demand of ourselves calling. But you got to step out and believe it and hold yourself accountable every single day. Do this. Nikki Giovanni, some of you know her. She said, I really don't is about the I could have beens. See, life is about the I tried to do it and the I didn't mind to fail people. See, but the I can't imagine and I never did it people, they might as well have never even lived. See, and so many of us today, right now, life is living us, but we're not living. See, that's when it's scared. That's when it's scared. Been told you'll never be anything because you haven't been to school yet. Some of you don't need school to be successful. You need confidence. How many of you understand that the number one people that are on the unemployment line right now can't find a job are the most educated? Education does not create opportunities when you lack the confidence to step out and be who you're supposed to be. Confident people succeed where academics only opens the door. So y'all hear me on this. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. And I appreciate y'all allowing me to get a little deeper on the things that mean something to me. So often we're talking about some statistical anomaly that ultimately gives us justification. Instead of feeling the way that a justified person feels, you got to step out and believe in yourself. Not wonder about what life is doing. Life is irrelevant because the life that you're living creates the happiness that you perceive. Some of us, because our focus is wrong. Some of us just don't understand. It's all in us. We can change it all, but we got to be honest within ourselves. Realize that you can work harder. Do you understand what I'm saying? So many of us, we think we are working hard. I'll never forget my son coming out of 5th grade, going into junior high. He said, "Dad, they gave me a C on my paper." He said, "I don't know. I did it exactly the way I always do it. I got a C." See, life isn't going to hold you in elementary school. How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? Sometimes in life, what you did at the lower level isn't enough. Want to go, you've got to add more effort. You've got to increase. See, but you got to be honest with yourself. You've got to say to yourself, I know I can do this. And more importantly, I know who I'm doing it for. See, I'm doing it for me. When I'm working for me, it's easier to work harder. See, when you work for somebody else, there's not enough compensation. Don't feel like going above and beyond is going to garner the same for me as it does for the next. But see, what we don't understand, that is not, we work to improve our ethic, to get closer to the dream, to dispel that hold us back, to step past and into our destinies. But you got to go with hard work, determination, and an understanding that failure means you got to try harder. First close. It means you may have to kick it. Some of you aren't no strangers to getting a little more physical. Go your way. But in life, physical means more hard work, more determination, more belief, more willpower, more do it. Hey, this your boy Tone Duncan. I'm loving this right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't even hate this clock, y'all. You're listening to Truth Seekers. That's every PM. I get to kick it with the coolest people on earth. We like, we share, we comment. But this is a group discussion, and I'm so glad to be hanging out with you. It's a lot to talk about. We need to step it up, and we need to be where we're supposed to be. You've got to have goals. Listen to me. You've got to have goals so big that small-minded people are uncomfortable hearing about them. You hear me? Sometimes you've got to say things in your mind that you know, my friends, because they cannot see what I see in me. They cannot understand energy when it comes to being who I was put here to be. We don't understand. It's bigger than you. It's faith. See, it's easy to be negative. I had a friend who every time something seemed to be going right, all he could see what was going wrong. You know what? When you see negative, when you think negative, you almost always going to be right, because the power of mental persuasion creates your reality. What if you were to reverse that, to believe in yourself, to step out, that you are the child of the Most High, and this is for your accomplishment? We don't see that. We don't come to God with the confidence. We come to God with the begs. Oh, Lord, please help me make it through this. Why? If I had a chance to go to the lotto, I'm not asking for the lottery. If I got a chance to go to the Powerball, I'm not interested in hundreds of thousands. To step out in faith, believe it. But it's a mindset, y'all. It's a mindset. See, but once that mindset becomes the way you live, it becomes harder to break. Because then you start to find friends who think like you. You start to find situations that create your thoughts. You start to become imprisoned by the reality that you created. So the very first thing you got to do when you step away from this mindset is get away from anything and everything that holds you down. You know, Lena Horne said, "Food that breaks you down." I'm going to say that again. It's not the load. It's the way that you carry it. A lot of you guys are carrying short weight the wrong way and blaming everything and everybody on why you don't have the faith, the confidence, or the strategy to get out here and make it happen. But you know what? I ain't going to hate on you because I see your success, strength. I know your victory, but I'm looking a little further down the line than you're willing to see right now. And that's okay. You can do that too. You got to set high standards, though. Sense of urgency. You can't wake up tomorrow thinking, oh, another day will come. I had a buddy. I'm telling you, he was my buddy. He was my buddy. He thought he had his whole life. He didn't do anything to die, but he's gone. My question to you is, how many days are you guaranteed to have? Like life is just going to hang around until you get it right. You are your children's inspiration. A lot of you wonder why your relationship isn't going well. Well, when you live a life of half-hearted attempts, lackluster hope, and a general negative, do nothing disposition, where do you think that puts your relationship? What energy? But I'm going to hurt you with something. If you've been thinking like that for a long time, what energy are you connected to? See, a lot of you are where you are for a reason. And it only had to be a season because you refused to work on you. And don't act like you didn't know it, because you know it, like you know I'm talking to you. Because this is how it goes. Truth digs deeper. It refers to. See, you got to stop half-stepping because we don't have time. See, goals by the inch, goals by the yard are hard. See, when you got to play bottom of the ninth your whole life because you didn't set yourself up with day to day, the chances of you succeeding are really low. And you're not supposed to succeed most of the time because it defies the rules that were already in place for you to be successful. How much time do you have to procrastinate? See, you've got a purpose, a reason for being here. You've got to bring that to the universe. You can't procrastinate. That sense of urgency has to make you see you're wasting valuable time. Living the life that you know you deserve, but you failed to step in the direction of your success, on to a belief that you can either get it tomorrow or aren't willing to work hard enough for today. Some of you know who I'm talking about. Some of you know who I'm talking about. See, I'm going to say this to you. You never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. If you adopt their attitudes, then the possibilities won't exist because you'll already have had shut it out. Other people's wisdom, but you've got to reevaluate and hear your own success. This is life. See, you've got to honor yourself. You know, one day I was thinking to myself, I was at a store. See, I was at a store and I didn't get the customer service that I wanted. How many of you realize that sometimes you go into a store, you don't really care about the thing you came to get? It was the service, the appreciation, and the respect to you as a consumer that you had a priority focus on. See, a lot of you will never come back to a store because, in your opinion, failed to reach your standards. I'm going to say it again. Never go to a store, a restaurant, or even talk to a friend because they failed to reach your expectation and your standard. But how many of you are judging your life on the same standard? How many of you willing to come to you and say, listen, I'm no longer valuing your negative opinion because it fails to live up to my standard and expectation? Some of you are much more willing to cut out a pizza joint than you are to cut out a negative thought that keeps reoccurring in your brain. You need to hear yourself think and then tell yourself to shut up. We got things we got to do. Procrastinating isn't going to get any of us where we need to go. We need to be single-minded. We need to learn focus. Do you realize that focus is what separates the successful from the pretenders? Do you realize the ability to just say, I'm going to work on me with a sense of urgency changes your outcome and changes you quickly? You have no idea who you are until you step past your failures. See, in baseball, you've got the most important player, okay? Now, pitchers, they got all these amazing pitches. They can throw fastballs, they can throw curveball sliders. You got to know what your strengths are. See, you got to know what your gifts are. Work on them daily. Because when you get your chance, you got to know the right to bring it. See, I'll tell you a little story real quick. It's real quick here. I used to wonder to myself what it is I wanted to do in life. And what I realized as I did more and more in life is what I want to do is do. I want to constantly reinvent myself. I want to constantly open businesses. I want to constantly talk in shows and meet people and do different things. This is who I am. This is who I want to be. But how many people do you think I could go to and find confidence in that lifestyle from another person? See, because people only want to see you for who you are. I had an extremely successful hair business. Extremely successful. I remember telling a guy that I was opening up a restaurant. And the guy told me, he said, "Oh, Tony, listen, people know you for what you're good at. You're exceptional in all things in the hair industry. Build your brand. Learn to show people years and years of solid legacy." See, he was right, but not for me. See, he was right, but for a different existence. See, I couldn't find my success in his limitations. Some of you are still living in the limitations. Never be where I am, never achieved what I achieved, never failed and learned from what I've. If I would have just stayed focused on being successful to another person's example of what success is. When you believe in yourself, you start to develop character. See, start to want to work on you, but studying you makes you realize you are not where you want to be. And when you are not where you want to be, you start wanting that. See, I always say, make sure that you build relationships with the people who are doing what you want to do. Don't try to do it alone. Don't think Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. In some capacity, somebody has already done. Find who is living the life you're trying to live and build a relationship. One time I wanted to be a barber. I didn't know anything about who was who. I asked somebody. They said, well, if you want to be good in this industry, you'll find a way to and do shows all over the country and represent manufacturers. Buddy, I didn't know anybody doing it. But what I did do was I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to a clipper manufacturer expressing my desire, representative for them. You know what that equaled? That equaled one day in Chicago, a call from the company saying, hey, we're down one guy. You want to come by and open boxes for us at this display show? Do you know I did that? I did that with the greatest vigor I could possibly find. In 2 weeks, you guys, I was the national representative for this manufacturer. For Walls Clippers, I was traveling around the country that few dared to dream because I stepped out in faith. A lot of you have faith on it. Let's act on that faith. Let's believe in ourselves and determine our success. Step in one forward direction. See, always search. You've got to be relentless. You've got dumb to failure. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? See, back to another little lifting analogy. Is that when you're lifting a weight before, it's not really your strong side that stays strong. It's your non-strong side that seems to have more endurance than your strong side. And you know what that is? I say because you don't use it enough, it's too dumb to know when it's failing. The side you use all the time has got a great connection with the brain. Saying, nope, that's enough. That's enough. We got to be dumb to failure. We've got to believe, have found a reason to be scared. But you got to stay clear of parasites. You got to stay clear of the dream robbers. Your happiness to be subject to the negative judgment of people who do not have your calling, your gift. Right on the other side of all that determined, all that endurance is your reward. But you got to step past the adversity. You've got to hold on a little longer. I wrestled, you guys. I wrestled, and let me tell you something. When you wrestle, you don't have a teammate you can hope on. My teammates got my back. And let me tell you, it didn't take me long to realize, tired, when you feel like quitting, think about it. Your opponent, they're tired too. They're thinking about quitting. The question ends up being, which one of you are going to fold first? You gotta be relentless. Believe in yourself like it's a religion. That's what today was about, you guys. It was about learning that if you trusted yourself as if it was the only religion you've ever had, you would achieve things that you never thought you could do. And for a lot of you who are spiritual, you understand the two are connected. But you have not because you ask not. See, you cannot walk, Rome, boldly and know yourself. When it's time for them to walk, when a baby is ready to walk, when they got it in their minds, they're going to walk. See, they can't be stopped. See, because failure is not on the hard drive. Oh, they've fallen before. They've hurt themselves. They've cried, but they are not to be detoured. Some of you, it's your faith like babies. Some of you need to be like the babies you once were. Before you've been conditioned that it's your mission to stay low. Some of you were flying high, got you down, but you can heal and you can get back up. So my thoughts as I leave y'all today, you are like that baby you once were, who only knows the passion, the fun of making that next step. Because it's in that next step that we see we were trying to live for. See, those of you casual have the greatest chance of becoming casualties. Some of you, greatness will only risk being really good. Till next week, y'all, this is your boy, Tone Duncan, Truth Seekrz, every Tuesday on IntellectualRadio.com. This is an iHeart station. I've had the privilege of hanging out with y'all. I will be monitoring the feeds, seeing what we can talk about. Remember, like, comment, share. Shay, love you. Till the next time, y'all. Peace.